Welcome to the Bourbon Van. I'm Phil.
I'm Julie. It's round 2, day 2. Welcome to the Bourbon Van's 2023 Advent Whiskey Tournament, presented by Bull Run Distillery and their extensive award-winning line of craft spirits.
10th day of the Bourbon Van Advent Tournament.
Look how cozy I am today. Special shout out to Team Plum Crazy. I'm bringing it back.
Bringing it back. Okay, Team Plum Crazy. If you haven't watched our video from, was it April? When we did that 62-mile relay run, go watch it. It has nothing to do with whiskey. It's very silly, but it was all kinds of fun.
I'm just seeing if our friend is actually watching these videos.
Oh, we're testing somebody
Yeah,
today.
because he always, wants to know if we're still wearing the sunglasses, still wearing the hat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if we don't get a comment from him on this one,
yeah,
there's something wrong out there. Well, there's something right happening here today because we've got winners within winners in this round. This is day 10. We've got whiskey number 3 for both of us. That's over here in the Julie Pour glass. And number 4 for me, number 8 for you. We have no idea what they are. We have no idea who gave them to us. We don't know anything other than these are the whiskeys that won for us on day 2 of the first round. So let's get on to the nose.
It smells like when you take butter and sugar, you kind of melt it down into that slurry, and then we threw some butterscotch chips in there.
I don't remember day 2 at all.
Me either.
It was only a couple of days. It hasn't been that long. I don't remember at all. This is grassy, and I don't think I've ever chosen a grassy whiskey in my life to move ahead in the tournament.
Wow, this smells so different. On my glass number 8, which is my second glass, a lot of cinnamon here. A lot of oak. A little fruit. Not much. A lot of oak. A lot of cinnamon.
Spicy and sweet.
Spicy.
Over here on glass number 2.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This kind of smells like a rye. Wow. What did I move forward?
I was just thinking the same thing.
How strange. I don't remember this.
I remember this
What
matchup.
matchup was this?
This is the one that beat the Duke.
Who's the Duke?
The John Wayne.
Oh. I was like, what are we talking about?
I think maybe the Duke took itself out of the competition more than this one knocked it out.
Actually, so the finish on this, I was really interesting. The finish on this one, chocolate. And then not a super sweet chocolate, like more cocoa, malty. There's some grain in here.
I'm all over the map on this one.
Farmy.
It's very farmy. Absolutely.
It makes my my taste buds a little itchy.
Absolutely. Twitchy, maybe.
Twitchy. Maybe that's better. You have such a good memory. I would never have remembered that. There's a little pepper on here now. There is a sweetness. I'm sticking by that butterscotch, buttery.
I agree with the butterscotch for sure. And it lays nicely on the tongue. It coats. There's coffee in here.
There's like a chocolatey coffee creaminess about this.
Yeah, there's a powdered cocoa sort of thing on top of a layer of coffee, on top of a grassiness, some cinnamon, some spice, some vanilla.
I wasn't expecting this to taste this way, which is why I'm giving kind of a weird vibe right now, but I do like it. I think it's really delicious.
I do too. The first sip, I wasn't sure. The second sip, I enjoyed it a lot more. Okay, I'm going to cleanse my palate and go on to glass number 2 because I could spend more time with this one. I think it's very, very interesting, but this one, it's kind of calling me right now. Ah. Wow, what an interesting whiskey in glass number 1. That is very strange. That's got to be something craft. I've never tasted anything like that.
There is something coffee beanish about it. I cleanse my palate and I'm getting coffee beans, almost like you're eating an espresso bean.
It's still hanging around.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you were going to bring this up? I was running a 50-mile race. We were at somewhere around mile 30-ish, maybe a little further, and we had some chocolate-covered espresso beans that were supposed to be like great for runners.
Yeah, people were like raving about it. We're like, great, let's do it.
And so I took one, and Julie was crewing me, so she took one too, and we both spit them out.
I was like, why?
It's the worst thing ever.
I feel like maybe
I'm not comparing this to that.
No, but it does taste like it tastes like the espresso bean and chocolate. I mean, we already said all of those notes, but
it's
that's
somewhat
so
reminiscent,
funny.
and it's funny that it reminded us both of that moment.
Yeah, I don't understand. I get the caffeine.
I still get a good vibe from that moment because it was a good race and a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, glass number 2. Sorry.
We are digressing greatly.
Greatly digressing. I let that simmer in my mouth a little bit. And I wasn't sure about it at first, but my flavors are really lovely on the palate and the finish now. Mild, almost like a melon sweetness. Some nice vanilla and sugar. Good oak, but there was nuttiness.
Very rich. Very chocolatey.
This one's warmer.
Very pleasant. This is bourbon, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's a rye or something, but this hits my palate like bourbon. It hits it. I can see why it moved into the second round.
Oh, nice. There's a nice sweetness, a nice oakiness on this one that I'm enjoying. I'm intrigued by the flavors of my glass number 1, though.
Yeah,
because as much as
back.
it's a wild ride, I mean, I am a big chocolate coffee frosting kind of girl.
Well, I'm just so curious about it. Like, now that I've tasted this glass here, number 2, glass number 2 for me, I like it. I think it's got a lot of oak, a lot of chocolate. There's a little nuttiness there, but not a sort of heavy-handed or nuttiness that I don't like.
Right.
I think there's a lot to like here. But at the same time, in this competition, I think maybe it's a little bit boring, a little bit pedestrian compared to glass number 1.
Oh, okay.
Glass number 1 is so wild and so unique.
Yeah.
That's going to be the battle here. Do I go for something that is consistent and tasty, or do I go with the glass that, to this point, it's sort of growing on me and it's super wild? Mm-hmm. It's going to take a while to get to dig into this.
So here's what I'm going to say from the past year's experience. We've done both.
We have.
Last year we eliminated the 4 roses, which, if I recall, I basically said there's nothing wrong with this.
It was a great whiskey.
It was pure bourbon flavors. It was so delicious. It just wasn't exciting. But basically, for everything that you just said, like, I wanted something exciting that year. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how I feel this year. It's going to come down to the same thing, but I'm like, number 1 is a little bit different. And I don't know if I would call it exciting, but I would call it
different.
Yeah. You know? And glass number 2 is more bourbon, like straight bourbon flavors. So we're only in round 2. Like, where's it going to go? You know? So that is a choice we'll have to make today.
If there's a thing that I like about glass number 1 that I can identify right off the bat, it's butterscotch and coffee. Those are tasty notes.
Wow, it's a really intriguing drink. I'm curious what this one is.
There's a salted caramel on here. Caramel, it's all right. Interesting. That coffee, yeah, that's enjoyable. I was thinking maybe that on day number 2, that the glass set lost on day number 2 for both of us had taken itself out. Now I'm thinking that wasn't the case, that this one was good enough to just flat out win. Mm-hmm. You know what's happening on glass number 1 all of a sudden for me? The sarsaparilla. Almost a root beer sort of more natural type of note.
Yep.
Crafty, tasty, sneaky. Very flavorful, this.
It is sneaky because I took that first sip of glass number 1. I was like, what was I thinking? And then
same.
Lately, I've just been like, man, I like this.
Yes.
Which is good that, you know, the autobiography wowed me with that first sip.
I recall, yeah. The people are waiting impatiently.
I'm glad I gave this one more time.
A little more time. Well, I also see that you hammered glass 2 into oblivion there, so.
This is what happens. This one's tough for me because these are wildly different whiskeys.
I have a decision.
Wildly different.
Wildly different.
But I think I know what I'm going to do.
Do you need a second or do you want to count it off?
No, I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. Wow, I liked this one.
I want to be very clear that glass number 2, it's also endearing. It's also growing on me, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I'm getting some like strawberry and raspberry notes in there, and dark oak wood, and almost like sometimes I talk about like wall paneling, like the wood paneling on walls from like the 80s that was kind of musty, but it's also cozy and endearing, and Glass 2's got that, and I'm enjoying it. I really, really like Glass 2, and I can see why it moved ahead. Glass 1 it's just unique. It's just interesting. It's just fun. That's why I went with it.
Yeah, my glass number 2 had a touch of bitterness that wasn't my favorite.
Interesting.
And so that was like a pretty big tick mark for me, because once I kind of worked through the bitterness, I really enjoyed the flavors. I thought they were, again, really nice bourbon flavors there. I liked the heat. I liked what I was getting out of it. There was just like a really interesting sweetness, but it wasn't candy sweetness. Like, it was everything we just said. It was like having, I think maybe this was the glass that I said was a caramel macchiato.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm feeling. It's on my palate. Even though glass 2 was the last one I sipped, those flavors are going back to glass 1.
I know, because I'm getting that creaminess, that coffee, the chocolate is very present in this. I liked the flavors. It just, there was, except for that initial sip where I was like, what was I thinking? I ended up loving this one.
It's bizarre.
It's very desserty.
In the best possible way.
Yeah.
Well, let's find out, because number 4 and number 8 have just been eliminated.
Wait, so that's 2 in a row that we've...
Yeah. Whiskey number 3 has gone on into the 3rd round. Let's find out. Grab envelopes number 4 and number 8, and let's see who has been eliminated.
Wow, 2 days in a row we're on the same page.
A huge thank you again to everybody that sent us stuff.
Yeah.
The packaging on these bottles has been ridiculous. There's
been
so many that were, there was some that were wax coated. There were multiples that had wax
Christmas
seals on them.
colors too, and red and green.
Wax seals, wax coatings, various bottle shapes and sizes, and
Love
everybody, you outdid yourselves, and I shouldn't be surprised. That's the community. We love it.
I know. Okay, so let's find out what I eliminated, which is number 8, which obviously you guys already know, but we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I'm ready to find out.
This is a Jeff Perkins that I eliminated.
Jeff Perkins.
Yes.
Are you? Wait a minute. You mean Jeff Perkins, the best avatar in the game?
Best avatar in the game, and Larceny Barrel Proof, C922, 126.6 proof, 6 to 8 years, non-age stated.
Wow.
Oh, you said Larceny, and that's what it was.
Let's be honest about this Larceny for a second.
Yeah.
Did that drink at that proof point?
No, it did not. It did not. I actually was reading that going like 126.6. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
There was some from yesterday that drank warmer than that, and they were in the low 100s.
It's actually impressive. Larceny Barrel Proof has not historically been either one of our favorites.
Right.
But even I have to admit, it's good whiskey, man.
Yeah.
For those of you that are out there like, yeah, it's $50, $55, and we keep talking about how great it is, and you guys keep telling us that you don't agree. Were we wrong? Maybe.
Maybe. Good value.
It's obviously an excellent value, especially if you like the flavor.
I eliminated that in round 1. Mm-hmm. It's better than my glass. Anyway, note to self, that one was better than the one that was in here. Brett Pounds.
Hey, we know him.
Wild Turkey Rare Breed. 116.8 proof, 6 to 12 years, not age stated. What I find interesting about Rare Breed is that I love Rare Breed.
Sure.
But I generally only like to drink Rare Breed outside. When I drink, for some reason, when I drink it inside, I'm like, meh. But when I drink it outside, it's literally one of my favorite things.
Well, the Rare Breed, fantastic for the finish, fantastic for value, excellent whiskey. I mean, we've seen it dominate bottles that cost a lot more than it.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting to find out what was in glass number 1, and I'm sure we'll get some blowback for this. But, I mean, great whiskey.
Great, yeah.
Very tasty. And there you go, 2 more bottles eliminated. What a wild ride this is going to be. I am excited because whiskey number 3 here is going to go up against whiskey number 1 from yesterday in round 3. Both of those very unique, very interesting, lots of complexity, lots of layers. What a matchup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. In my noodle right now, I'm like, oh yeah, this will be an easy round. But maybe not, because I thought this was going to be out immediately this round, and then she went on to beat the regular bourbon flavors. So.
I mean, look what she did. Larceny got knocked out, barrel proof. Wild Turkey got knocked out.
What is this?
Also, I want to give a big shout out to Peach Coke real quick. He put Larceny barrel proof versus Rare Breed.
Yeah.
And I know he's chuckling watching day 2 to see how that was all going to turn out.
Yeah.
And we hope it was as entertaining as you hoped for from wherever we are.
To wherever you are.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hope your brackets are still intact.
Nobody's bracket's still intact.
Was your whiskey hand-selected by the Bourbon Van? If not, it should be. Click the link below in the description and get yours today.